And we are live. So, welcome to this evening's Ask Karen. This is where I interview our members. So, it gives them an opportunity to share exactly what they do and who they help, maybe share a bit of their story too. And then finally, because hopefully it will help you guys, you might be having the same question. Our guest will ask a question that relating to building their business online in something that some people may be struggling with. So our guest this evening is Jackie. So Jackie, would you like to share with the audience a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Oh, hi, Karen. I'm absolutely thrilled to be here. I have to say, this is the first one of this nature that I've done. So it's exciting for me too. Thank you very much. Yes, my background's IT training, Microsoft products. And when I started that business, I needed to make contacts. And this was back in 99. I went to a business startup course run by NatWest, which was free for 3 days, and met somebody there, again local, Penny. We stayed in touch. She found a group of women in London who were going to have a meeting, and she said to me, would I like to join her, because she was going to go along because it was for IT based women. And I said, no thank you, I don't do women's events. I don't do coffee mornings at all parties. Look where we are now. And there was this stunned silence. I always blame my dad for things like that. And my response is because he came from Yorkshire. Anyway, story goes that I went along, almost screaming and shouting, dragged by the roots of my hair, which wasn't completely untrue because I didn't want to go. I just wanted to build this relationship with Penny, really, because we were getting on well. And we'd also been talking about sharing an office in Clerkenwell in the city. So anyway, went along this thing, and it was a real eye-opener for me because having worked with quantity surveyors and architects, I'd always considered that I'd worked in a male domain. But actually, when I thought about it, I was working in IT education, very female-led, IT industry, but not the tech side, again, female-led. And I was also working for a charity, for a hospice, and again, very female-led, none of which I'd even given a second thought to. Anyway, this evening we went along, and as I say, it was a real eye-opener for me. It was like there were 27 women there, and you know how these figures stay in your head, don't they? And the opportunity was for us to have a drink and then perhaps go on to dinner, which is what we did. I mentioned that Penny and I had decided we were going to share some office space. Some of those women there said, well, give us a shout when you get there and we'll meet for lunch. So we said, yeah, all right then. So that's what we did. We met for lunch, and another figure, 35 women came. We were all counting our pennies at this lunch thing. Everybody thought, this is a great idea. And you could see the diaries coming out. And again, something else that I hadn't experienced, all these conversations and support going on. And should we do it again? Yeah, okay, we'll do it in a month's time. Penny and I were both advisors, which was with the local Chamber of Commerce, which had a training arm. Doesn't exist now in Bromley. They tried to help women and nothing really had materialised. So we said, well, we do this lunch. We could do a lunch because that's all we felt it was at that time. 54 women all booked in.
Wow.
Amazing. In Ferraris, as was in East Street at that time. Okay, so we got the two going once a month. Bromley, we had some women from your area, as you were in Orpington with our group, who said, well, it takes us a little while to get there. By the time we've parked, could we run a group for you? I particularly had been thinking, this is not only working for us, and we'd actually stepped back and weren't promoting our own businesses because we could see how well it was working in terms of those essential connections, as you know, Karen, were happening so well. So sat down, did the business plan, etc., etc. And at peak, we had 32 groups because it
Wow.
just blossomed through a really organic, essential need. So that's where we all, where it all got started, really. And there was no big waking up in the middle of the night, oh, let's set up a network for businesswomen, because as I said earlier, I was very anti all women events then. So it just really came through a need for us for making connections for our own businesses. And as I say, we stepped back because we could see how well it was working for other people, and we wanted to be part of their business growth, and that's how we grew. So yeah,
Brilliant.
interesting start.
Yeah, I mean, networking, it really is going to be the key for a lot of people in business. And what better way than actually to fit lunch in at the same time? I can't even see, it's just a bit of a win-win, really. You're
Well, that's
making
the thing.
connections.
Yeah, because we have to eat. And I think for women as well, we get squeezed at either end. There's either the children and a school run, or maybe elderly parents, or even both.
Hmm.
So to say, yeah, okay, let's take a break at lunch and still be working on your business, as you said, it's got to be a win-win, hasn't it?
Absolutely. And it really sort of ties in even with me running my radio show and podcast, and Coffee with Karen. What I have found is that when you speak to somebody, you can read about them. There might be some brilliant copy written by a professional copywriter, but it still won't explain what they do. They might have the title coach or therapist or whatever, but it's actually only when you speak to them do you actually understand really what it is they do, who they help specifically, and what problem they solve. So the idea, I suppose, with live networking, you're getting that. You're getting that in a live setting. You're making connections, real connections. Then you can book a one-to-one with the individuals at the lunch, so that you can understand a little bit more about them. And from what I've learned in the last 18 months, that is absolutely crucial, because you could have bypassed them, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and you never dismiss anybody because you just don't know. You know yourself, Karen, networking can often be a slow burn. It's for anybody who's looking for a quick sale, hold your horses, because it probably won't happen as a quick sale. It may do if they have a product and they've got that product there, maybe. But generally, it's about building that relationship and knowing that you can trust that person. You may not use their product or their service. You may refer them on to somebody else. Somebody else may say, well, I need somebody to do X, Y, Z. And I could say, well, actually, you need a coach, and I just need to know the person for you. I've not necessarily used their service, but would you like me to put you in touch? And I think that's one of the things why I've always held on to trying to get to all the different locations, because whilst our hosts, and as you as one of our hosts for Orpington will know, you are the linchpin of that local group, but you don't necessarily know what's going on in the London group or the Bexley Heath group, whereas I, going to the different ones, can cross-refer in that way and make the different connections. And then that connection goes with that person, that they can make their own decisions then on how it all works for them.
Yeah, it's perfect. I mean, it's all going alongside the way people build their business online. At the end of the day, you're not gonna sell straight away. In fact, you shouldn't even try to make a sale straight away, because it is all based on building the know, like, and trust factor. And what better way than to do it over lunch at a networking event? Plus, the perks are, and again, I'm no financial advisor here, so wherever you are in the world, you need to check with your accountant what you can put against the expenses, right? Because it's a business meeting. So who knows? That's that's for your accountant.
No. Certainly here in the UK, it is tax deductible. You don't put down, I'm having lunch, or you know, if you're going to another network, or we're doing another event. It's a networking, as you've rightly said, it's a business event that is tax deductible. So always make sure you put that there and never dismiss it. And for anybody who's not actually VAT registered, you can self receipt as well. So if you should, not just for the meetings, but because there's always receipts, and our monies go through PayPal, so you always get that receipt there. But if you buy an industry magazine, for example, and you've lost the receipt for that, you can write that receipt down. You don't have to have the actual evidence of it, as long as you're not VAT registered.
Right.
You can do that.
Great advice. So really, it is a win-win. At the end of the day, it's going to come off your tax as well, and you get the advantage. And especially, I think, for people, if you are like myself, you know, my business is online. You know, I'm a people person, so I love to be able to get out and meet people face to face. You know, it can be quite lonely building a business by yourself.
Yes.
And so to be able just to do that once a month, I think is phenomenal. And I know a lot of people, a lot of the viewers on this particular in the groups that I'm running can be all over the world, and obviously may not be able to get to Bromley in Kent in the UK, or Orpington, but you do offer an online service as well, don't you, Jackie?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was one of the things that came out of us having the pandemic, of course. When that happened, I took all our meetings online, and initially they were weekly, because everybody was in such a distressed state, if you like. Nobody really knew which way to turn, what to do, etc., etc. So those weekly, as opposed to monthly group meetings, were a huge support for everybody. And I did that for the first year. Second year, everybody was finding some sort of level, etc. So, but we're still itching to, when are we going to get back to face, but still wanted to hold that online meeting. So we have another monthly online meeting. It's on the second Wednesday of every month. So we have our radio show on a Monday, which is weekly, and we have our TV show, which is on the second, the TV program, which is on the second Wednesday of every month, of course, at 12:30.
There you go. So yes, so I was just going to ask, for those who, if you haven't, if you can't actually see the link below, and I'm just going to put something on the banner here. UK / calendar. Okay, let's put that in the bottom here. Let's do that. Is that right, Jackie?
Let's put the specs on and have a little look, see? Yes, that looks about right, Karen. Thank you.
Awesome. So if anybody would likes the idea of you know, just networking, even if you're not in the local area, if you can't come to lunch, that's a shame, but you could still get online. This is specifically for women in business. It doesn't matter what industry you're in. You just do not know who everybody else knows, right? So yes, it's not an instant fix. A lot of these things in business, I know we live in an instant gratification era, and people want it now. But if you're going for the long burn, you need a few things, a few strategies in your toolbox. Some that are for the short term, but also you want to be building the long term, and that will include blogs, podcasts, radio shows like Jackie and myself are currently doing. Except Jackie's doing the real thing. She's in a real radio studio. I'm a little bit of a we are pre-recorded. I'm not going to lie.
We have a blog. We have a blog website as well. So whilst 12:30 the Women's Company also has a blog section, we have a website, Birds on the Blog, which is completely blogs.
All blogs.
Yes, all blogs. I think, I mean, it's and people get in touch. But also, just to touch on it, I know that you've got an international audience as well, Karen. We have people all over the world, actually, in different, I mean, I can't say in every country, I can't lay claim to that, but we've got people in Africa, Spain, as you know, and because of doing the regular conferences over there. So we are scattered with different people from different parts of the world, and not just, as you say, from our hometowns.
Right. And then there's huge benefits for that, because if you have an online business, then fantastic. That's what you're looking for. So, Jackie, for
Yes.
what question did you have to help people with their businesses online?
Well, first of all, I'd like to know how I can make a six-figure income next week. That would suit me very nicely. Thank you.
Shucks, again, I know. See, what did I just say about this instant gratification? No, unfortunately, I do not have the magic pill. I do not have the answer. It takes a lot of work, a lot
Yeah.
of very specific day to day getting the job done. But yes, you are welcome to find out by coming on to my Facebook group. We do offer lots of trainings on there to help people get to that. But yeah, sorry, Jack, can't do that.
But I think we do it. You and I do it in similar and different ways because of our different expertise, because of our different personal experience. But I think the big thing is that word support. I think you mentioned earlier, and I think people need to know where they can get that support from, and what's actually going to work for them. And that comes to me constantly, is that request for support. It may be IT support, it may be personal support, it may be, as you mentioned, working for yourself can be very lonely. And certainly when we were all stuck in our rooms and couldn't go anywhere, it was all online, and it came into its own, didn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, support really, I feel that it's massive. And yeah, as you said, I think from what you're doing with your live network in events, I mean, I know that you personally give a lot of support to a lot of people, and it can be as simple as, at the end of the day, it's just pointing them in the right direction. None of us, well, we only know what we know, right? And we only know things because somebody else has shown us the way. Somebody else has pointed us in the direction. None
Absolutely.
of us are any better than the next person. None of us were born knowing, right? So yes, I do feel that a lot of people, when they start putting their business online, I think there's a misconception that it's going to be really easy because all of a sudden you've got a global audience. Well, yes, that is true. However, man, there's some skill sets you're going to need to learn. And yes, I think finding the right support is essential. Now, number one, the quickest and easiest route, I would say, is actually going into YouTube and typing in how to. I do that all day, every day, I would say, when I come up against something that I don't know how to do. It's such an easy thing to do that. However, sometimes you've got to search through quite a lot of trash, maybe, to find the actual answer.
Languages, etc. It's funny you should say about YouTube, because you could see here my green sheet for backgrounds and stuff. My original one was a large, I don't know what you'd call it. It's green, but it's got a bendy thing around it.
Oh, yes. Does it sit behind your chair?
That's the job.
Yeah, I had one of those.
Yeah, and that's what I thought it was going to be, but it actually was too wide for my space here. So I took it and I'd had it for ages and not done anything with it. And it getting it out of the bag and all the rest of it. And it took 3 of us at home and a YouTube video, which is why I mention it, to put it back in the bag.
Yes,
so I took it into the radio station and said to them, would you like to use this? It was going to be any good. So Sophie in the office, she sort of pinged and it opened and all the rest of it. She did exactly that. I said to her, I think you're going to have to go onto YouTube. And she said she did it in the end, but it was YouTube that
there you go.
Set the bend. So
I mean, yes, I must admit I've struggled with that. I actually have a big green sheet here myself. Rather than that, I found it just too fiddly. But yeah, YouTube is essential. And actually, we've just launched our very own support system called the Community Hub, where we will be even as simple as, there could be something really what you consider small, and there's nothing that's too small, because if no one's shown you, no one's shown you, right? We could do screen recordings of the how to create a Loom video, or create you put your signature in Gmail, or so many things, because I think people can get a bit overwhelmed with all the things that they don't know yet how to do. And I
Yeah.
suppose that's what we're looking to help people with, and help people maybe have a practice run if you've not done Facebook Lives, if you're not good on camera. So, some of the simple things that you'll get a chance to sort of practice as you go, do role play to build your confidence so that you can take action.
Mm.
And instead of procrastinating, actually do the things that you need to do on a daily basis to continually grow your audience, to build influence in the audience, and the bottom line, to make sales, right? So thank you for your time today, Jackie.
Yeah.
I know I will see you in a couple of weeks at Orpington. So if anybody is in the area or can get to there, then please get in touch. And the rest of you, I will be back in a couple of days for Ask Karen. Bye for now.